They never will show this on Love is Blind because it would have ruined the show for everyone. But we both witnessed some bad behaviour from one guy on the show, and Meg hit the roof. What he did was wrong, but doesn't mean I'm not going to go for a beer with him.
15 boys, 15 girls, dating, but they can't see each other. And at the end of that, you have the opportunity to say, I do.
I fell in love in a week. That's the truth. We had sexual tension through a wall.
I knew Kieran was the one, but that's a difficult place to be if you're with 15 other girls. It's naturally going to get a bit heated.
I had felt a bit overwhelmed at that point, and I was just thinking, are we missing something? I was dating other people, and that is slightly manufactured for TV.
You were in a safer place with Meg.
Yeah.
So now, the moment before you see each other,
That scared the life out of me. I was nervous about us not connecting physically, because you can't hide that on TV. People will see if you are not 100% into the person. But then I was like, that's Meg. That's the girl I'm in love with.
I was just so excited to finally see Kieran.
you two were truly meant to be together. Why have you chose to tell your story now?
If I'm honest.
All right, everyone, before we begin, I have to tell you a secret. Truly, one of the biggest honors of my life is making this podcast. I absolutely love it. I love the conversations, and I love speaking to all of you when I see you either in the DMs or on the street. But I do have a small favor to ask, and that is, please subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon. What it allows us to do is bring more and more incredible conversations just like this to you. All right, without further ado, let's get into it. Meg, Kieran, we need to talk.
We do need to talk.
So, yeah,
We do need to talk.
we do.
And here's where I'd like to begin talking, right? Why have you chose to tell your story here?
I mean, I reached out to your team, if I'm honest, because Meg is a huge fan of yours and the podcast, and she actually introduced me to your podcast not so long ago now. I hadn't heard of it, hadn't listened to any episodes, and she introduced me, and I loved it. I listened to a few of the episodes you've done, especially with like Jordan Stevens and Youngblood, and I was like, okay, this is preaching stuff that I want to preach and talking about topics that I think are important. So yeah, I reached out without telling Meg.
Oh, really?
And I was like,
It's a surprise.
kind of wanted to like make it a bit of a surprise for her, and like, you know, be
This is
like,
a treat.
I'll be like, we're going on your favorite podcast, and I did that, and yeah, managed to make it work.
Yeah, no, that's sweet.
Oh my God, that's an amazing story. Oh my gosh. So Meg, how did you react when Kieran told you that?
I was in shock. I was like, surely not. Like, surely not me. How is this happening? No, I've always been a huge fan of yours, Paul. I do have to say so. I've watched like all of your shows. Like, I've listened to most of the podcasts, and I just think you're amazing. I love the way you speak to people, and I honestly just think you're so wise.
Wow.
Yeah, and I'm not the most deep person. Like, I find it really hard to chill, and I actually think listening to your podcast is the only time that I'm like, oh, I can focus and like calm myself. So yeah, I think you're quite magical.
Well, one is I deeply appreciate that. I appreciate that. And what I also find interesting is that in itself was an act of love. That was an act of love. And I think that's something that shows why you two were truly meant to be together. I have binged all of Love is Blind. I finished it at probably 3 a.m.
Bless you. Eyes twitching.
Oh my gosh. My wife and I were like, oh my gosh. And your story is incredible. And what I love to do with this conversation is not only unpack that, but really look at who you two were before, right? If we can we talk about relationships early on?
Yeah.
All right, which I know is probably a little awkward now.
Yeah.
Sitting next to your husband to talk about.
Kieran's giving the side eye like.
Over many years, guys, I'll let you guys chat for a bit.
Let's not talk about the details.
Yeah, that's fine.
Just generally.
Yeah.
What would you say your relationship history was prior to the show?
I didn't really date when I was like at school. I know like everyone at school would be dating and doing that thing. I think I was just a bit of a, I just wasn't that interested. And I think I got to leaving school, I had like a long-term boyfriend who was actually my best friend growing up. Um, and yeah, we had a lovely relationship, but we kind of grew apart because, again, I feel like I always knew what I wanted to do. I had such big aspirations. I wanted to move to London. I wanted to dance. I wanted to do all these crazy things. I feel like it just didn't work out.
Okay.
Yeah.
And it sounds like it wasn't even a priority to you.
Yeah. I think deep down, dating and having a partner wasn't my priority. I think I've always been so career driven and so passionate in what I wanted to do that maybe I didn't prioritize relationships as much as others.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and I think that was a pattern after that as well. So after dance college, like had a few boyfriends here and there throughout doing contracts and stuff, performers. And it's complicated, obviously. Contracts are short term in the dance world. And say I would go on a cruise ship for 6 months, be traveling around the world, and I'd be in a certain time zone, and then my partner would be on land. And it's how you communicate, how do you make that happen? And also at a young age, I feel like I was learning.
Yeah.
It's all a learning curve. Yeah, and I think it was just a bit
Yes.
much for me.
Yes.
Yeah.
We had Karen Hauer
Yes,
from
I listened to that one.
yes on who was on Strictly,
Hmm.
right? And it's interesting because she would say the same thing in terms of the challenges that a dancer has because of the project length, the travel, etc. But what I've also noticed with Karen and other dancers I've talked to is highly disciplined,
Yeah.
highly structured. Would you say that's the? I should actually ask you, Karen. Would you say that's the case? Is
When it comes to your career, yes. I don't necessarily think outside of that Meg's the most structured person. I would say I'm kind of the structured ones. Like if we go on holidays, I'm the one like helping with the planning. I've got the spreadsheet, you know.
Yeah.
oh,
Yeah, you
It's
are.
more of a free spirit, I would say.
Yeah.
But you are very focused when it comes to dance. That's something she is very focused on, yeah.
okay.
Yeah. I think you've hit the nail on the head.
So can we talk about your relationships?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So now, from what I understand, you were in a long-term committed relationship prior to
Yes.
the show.
Yes, so I met my ex at university. So we were together for 7 years. We had a fantastic relationship. I still think very highly of her, and I haven't got a bad word to say about her. She's an amazing person. We went through a lot of life change together. Graduating university, moving down to London for the first time, moving in together. We bought a house together. We had a dog together. We did all of the steps that you do prior to ultimately locking in for life. And I got to the point where truthfully, I don't love speaking about this relationship because I still very much care about her and don't ever want her to be brought into the conversation negatively because she's never done anything wrong, and she's, as I say, she's an amazing person. But I just personally got to the point where I never saw that next step happening. I never saw her as the mother of my children. I never saw us getting married. Like I never got to that point. And I really struggled with that. Like I really wrestled with that for years. Like I was probably prior to me initiating the breakup, I was probably thinking about it, if I'm honest, for over a year prior to that, because it wasn't an easy thing to do because I had so much love for her and, thought the world of her. I to put her through that was a really difficult decision for me.
Just on that note, Kieran, I think a lot of people may be not or may not be surprised to hear you say that a year prior to the breakup, you had begun to consider that because on average in a committed relationship, that is the timeline.
Right.
It's roughly a year
Yeah.
where you begin to say, should I not?
Yeah.
And then you talk yourself in, you talk yourself out.
Yeah.
So that seems on par.
Right.
Prior to the show, you had one long-term relationship.
Yeah.
Didn't date much.
I had sort of I think it's mentioned on the show that I had like a year. It was actually more like 2 years between that and going on the show. So I did have some time as a single person dating in London, utilizing dating apps, going through that crazy dating app world that is just an absolute mess. And I think we all know that.
Yeah.
I did that for a bit, yeah,
Okay.
probably about a year.
Yeah. Okay. So, and Meg, had you had a long-term committed relationship prior to the show?
My longest relationship was when I was about 16.
Oh.
So yeah, like very young.
Very young, but as an adult, no.
No, everything was pretty short term.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Fair. Fair. So then that leads us to, how do you find out about Love is Blind? And then what inspires you to take part in it?
So I was always a huge fan of the show. I watched every single series. I loved the whole concept of them dating without seeing each other. Like, obviously, that's the total opposite to dating in real life.
Yes.
It's all on apps. It's all about how you look. So I love that concept. And I always said, I was like, imagine this coming to the UK. Like, how would that work? So I feel like British people were just so different. And I'd just seen like people on the first episode going, I'm in love. I'm in love. And I was like, I just don't think British people are like that. I think we're a bit more reserved. And I think I didn't understand how British people would get to that point that they would get engaged at the end of it. And then lo and behold, announcement, Love is Blind UK is coming. And it just popped up on my Instagram, apply. And I just thought, you know what? Spice up your life, Meg. Like, why not go
Why
for
not?
it? Yeah, just applied and then went through the process. And then one day was cast. Couldn't believe it.
Couldn't believe it.
Couldn't believe it.
So you applied not really thinking you would land on the show?
No.
Okay.
I didn't think about it at all. I didn't even tell anyone that I'd applied, and then was going through the rounds. And then I think it's when I went to the offices in London and had an in-person and they measured my ring finger. And I was like, oh, that's quite a big thing. Like, you're measuring my ring finger, like, what? And then we had an interview and it got really emotional. Yeah, and then they cast me and I just couldn't, honestly, I couldn't believe it. But again, I just felt like, right, well, I guess this is my path. I guess this is the calling. Like, this is what I should go for. Yeah, so that's how I ended up on the show.
So now, Kieran,
Mm-hmm.
different situation for you?
So like I'm relatively newly single and I'm on the dating apps, you know, and I was on a date with a girl and she said to me, you would be really good on Love Island. And I was like, well, this is a really weird.
Green fake.
I was like, I don't know how to take that as like a comment on a date, on a first date. Like, I don't know how to take this. But she planted a seed in my head and I went home after the date and I applied for Love Island that night. After a few drinks, I was like, I just applied to Love Island. I was like, screw it, let's see what happens, right? It's obviously quite a while ago now. And then I went through the whole, long story short, I went through the whole process of casting for Love Island and I got cast on Love Island. So I was cast as a bombshell on the series of Love Island prior to our series of Love is Blind. That process was like quite long. It was almost like I was in casting for Love Island for like 8 months or something ridiculous. So it was quite a long process, but in the end, they basically cast me and I signed a contract with ITV and I was cast on Love Island. Now, my mum was horrified. She was like, this is not a show for you, Kieran. Like, you're not that's not you. A lot of my family shared the same sentiment. Some of my friends just thought, well, that's just hilarious. Yeah, you should definitely do that. Like, that's funny. So anyway, I was cast on Love Island as a bombshell. Never got on the show. So never actually got dropped into the villa.
Oh my gosh. Were you sequestered? Because they take those are the bombshells.
Yeah, I never even got out to the little holding villa. So they must have loads of us in this bombshell section. I don't know how it works. I'm not a casting
She's like holding you all.
but they must have, like, they were ringing me sort of every 3 days being like, yeah, who are you interested in on the show? And obviously depending on what answers you give will depend on whether you are getting dropped into the villa or not, right? Anyway, so I did this and then didn't get on the show. And then, as you'll probably know, a lot of the people that work in TV are freelance, so they jump around shows.
Yes.
And one of the casting people was then on Love is Blind. And my sort of exclusivity period with Love Island ended at the end of the show. They rang me the day after and we're like casting for this other show, and this is way more you. Like, we want you involved. I've already like sent all of your stuff to the like lead people. They're really interested. We've got one more slot for a man on the show. Oh, and by the way, we're filming in 3 weeks. And I was like, wait, what? And I didn't even really know the show. Like, I didn't know Love Is Blind that well. Like, I'd seen clips, but I didn't really know it. So I was like, well, just give me a day. Watched as much Love Is Blind as I could in the next day, just to try and get a grips for the show. And I was like, oh, it's quite a nice show. Like, it's the thing I was scared of was like, am I in a position where I'm ready for all that? And I think I had a lot of conversations with friends, family, and I was like, do you know what? I'm really open to this social experiment. Never thought I would actually get married or like I would meet the one, right? Like, that was never even a realistic thought in my head. But I was like, I'm open to the social experiment. Put your phone away, date with intention for 2 weeks. Even if I don't actually make it onto the show and get any airtime, cool experience. Like, what have I got to lose? That was kind of my approach. So yeah, got through the casting in about a week, which is probably a record for reality TV.
Yes.
And yeah, got cast in the show. 2 weeks later, I was on a flight to go and film the show.
Thank the Lord.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah,
Now
that's
that is
the
the
story.
story.
Yeah.
That's the story.
That was worth it.
Yeah, sorry.
That was
the full background.
Oh, that was worth it. That
Yeah.
was worth it. Wow, that is amazing.
Yeah.
That is amazing. You look at how this union perhaps might not have happened.
Yeah.
That's how the world works, right?
It's crazy.
Very thankful of the call from that casting producer.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
Cupids.
And I'm curious with the setup because we never see the actual living quarters, although they're called living quarters.
Yeah.
But I would imagine you live together. What are you in dorms or no?
You actually live in a hotel.
Yeah, we don't want to spoil the magic of the
Oh, yeah.
TV too much, but we don't live in the living quarters. And the girls and boys are obviously kept separate. So
Yes.
completely separate. Like, we never saw any of the girls throughout filming. Taxis take us to separate hotels and then back to the set, and the set is like very regimented, isn't it? Like,
Yeah.
people take you to the toilet and stuff. Like, you're babysat while you're on set so that you don't accidentally walk into the girls.
To the
Like,
girls. That
Because
makes sense.
you can hear each other. So like the girls would be like, woo boy. And the boys would be like, woo girls. And you could hear each other and we'd be like,
Like, who's that?
yeah, trying to guess, oh my God, I think that's Kieran.
Oh my gosh. And also too, I think it's important for anyone who's not watched Love Is Blind. How would you explain the premise of the show?
Well, it's 15 boys, 15 girls dating with a wall in between them. So can't see each other. And basically you've got 2 weeks to date and hopefully finding a connection to possibly propose at the end. And then after that, you end up going on a holiday together, then living together for 3 weeks. And then at the end of that, you have the opportunity to say, I do at the end of the aisle.
it's a pretty good synopsis of how the show works.
Yeah.
That was very good.
Yeah.
And the I do at the end of the aisle, that is, from what I understand, that is a legal marriage.
It
100%.
is, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Lots
Okay.
of people think it's not, but it is.
It's a legally binding marriage. Yeah. What you don't see is off screen. We go into the side and we sign all the papers like on that day, and it's all legally binding.
It's legit.
Look at that. Now, going back to you entering the experiment, okay, Meg, you mentioned it's 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So in the 2 weeks, do all 15 of the boys date all 15 of the girls? So you actually talk to everyone.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my, how do you do that? Like, even logistically, how do you do that? Like, so if you can, how do you do that? What's the schedule?
So the first day you date everyone.
Yeah.
8-minute dates. It's like speed dating.
Oh, okay.
So you get 8 minutes. So what you see on the screen on our first date, that literally was 8 minutes. Like we're banging out all that information. So you're like, hi, how are you? I'm nervous. Okay, so where are you from? What do you do? Like literally
Yeah.
getting as much information you can.
Exactly that. Yeah. You date. You essentially you start whittling it down based on the things you learn over the course of the 2 weeks until you're left with a few people that maybe you're still dating towards the end who you have an interest in, and then obviously you've got to make a decision.
Make a decision.
Yeah.
So do you both, clearly, you must remember that first day, that first interaction
Yeah.
that you had.
Yes.
Okay.
So Meg was my first date of the entire experience, and I was her first date of the entire experience, which is insane.
Crazy. And we was in pod one.
And we were in pod one, and it was the first date. And they never will show this on the show because it would have ruined the show for everyone. But I walked out of that 8-minute date and I shouted to all the boys in the corridor. I was like, I'm done, guys. I found the one. I'm done. 8 minutes. I was no joke. And Meg was number one from day one and stayed there the whole time.
So then the question must be asked, how, within 8 minutes, did you know Meg was the one?
It's such a difficult question to ask. Like, I don't like the word vibes, but it's like you just get this feeling of, there was that initial spark. You get that feeling of like energies matching. It's like, okay, we're on each other's wavelength when it comes to matching each other's energy. But then just like a sense of comfortability and like calmness when you're talking. And we got that from the first 8-minute date. And I was like, well, this feels really nice. Like that's kind of how I felt. I was just like, this feels really nice. I feel really happy.
Yeah, that is bang on. Like, I was so nervous going in. Just standing in front of that door for ages, and they're like waiting as long as possible. And they're like, right, in you go. And I was like, walked in. I even said, I was like, oh God, I'm so nervous when I walked in.
The first thing you did was giggle.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Well, the first thing I ever heard of Meg was her giggling, which is obviously very Meg. And I was like, and she was like, this is my first date. I'm really nervous. And I was like, oh, it's mine as well. Like, we'll walk each other through this. Let's hold each other's hands through this. So it was that initial, like, we both got each other, you know, we got each other's backs here.
It was like, even before we'd even knew each other's names, like that, you know, I was like, it's fine. We've got each other. Let's calm. Let's have a little conversation. I was like, oh, okay. Already it's 10 out of 10, lovely. So it's like, before we've even known each other's names, I was already like, wow, I can feel like something happening here.
So it was the same for you, would you say, Meg, that you felt something?
Yeah, oh yeah.
It wasn't necessarily what was said, but what was felt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's mad considering we couldn't even see each other. I'm just looking at a wall and I can feel that from Kieran,
Yes.
just from his voice.
It's really weird.
It's really
Do you know
weird
what
to explain.
that is the most like baffling thing about this, which is so hard to explain, is that feeling that you can get through the pod wall
Yes.
just from a voice. And it's more intimate than a phone call because you're in the same room. So I don't know. It's really, you can get a feeling just through the wall.
I mean,
It's really weird.
if we nerded out on this a little bit, because I mean, this is the category that I love,
Yeah.
is that I so in full transparency, my first time seeing Love Is Blind was seeing this.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Now my wife was watched it all,
Oh,
like
love.
every season in the U.S., the U.K. Like she watches it all. But this was my first time watching it, and I got the gist of the concept. But watching what you're saying, Kieran, is like, you could see that there is a level of intimacy
Mm-hmm.
that you have without being able to see each other.
Yes.
And when I look at that, I thought, and you tell me because you were in it, is when you remove sight, there's more emphasis placed on other senses.
Yes.
That's one, right? Secondly, is that attraction, a lot of people don't calculate this, but attraction has, to a large degree, is based on tone, pacing, pitch, right? And you are more attuned to those without the distraction of the physical,
Yeah.
right? So that's part of it. I think also the fact that you're in this unique experience together and you were experiencing this thing literally for the first time, pod one, right? Like all of these, I think, plays a role in that.
Yeah.
Would you say that that is the case?
Yeah, I mean, you've kind of articulated the science better than I could because I know nothing about it. But from my experience of it, it's exactly that. Like you're so focused on everything that Megan is saying through the wall, how she's saying it, how it's making you feel, the way she's, you know, because it's not just the words, right? It's not just I think you can say things that are reassuring and not reassure the person.
Yes.
But the way that she was reassuring me and the way that she was saying those things made me feel reassured, and there's a difference in that. And you probably pay way more attention to that than if you're shouting at someone in a bar over a drink, face to face.
Yeah, bang on. All I could hear was Kieran's voice for sometimes up to 3 hours. And the way that you can talk to each other throughout that time, it's just, it's honestly magical. I would recommend that experience to anyone and everyone because it's just, you'll never experience anything like it.
I mean, there's only 30 men and 30 women in the UK that have had that experience.
Look at that.
And so it's hard to explain it, but I unfortunately don't have many single friends, but if I did, I'd be like, guys, you need to apply for this show.
Yeah.
Because the experience that you get from it, even I've made some mates from the show, right, that don't get featured because they didn't find a connection. They had the best time ever because
Look at that.
it's
Yeah.
2 weeks of the social experiment, dating with intention, putting all the outside distractions, phones, all of that stuff, even just other people like giving you their thoughts and feelings on people. Like you block that out and you just focus on what you're thinking, what you're feeling. And it's weird, you're obsessed with dating in that period. Like all I thought about every night going to bed, I couldn't sleep a lot of nights, and I'm a very good sleeper, but I couldn't sleep a lot of nights because I was just thinking, what am I going to say to Megan tomorrow? What do I want to know about her? Like you get absolutely obsessed with it, which is so weird.
No, it's beautiful. You know, I think like what is the lesson for those that will not be able to participate in an experience like that? And one lesson that I pull away is the importance of focusing on how you feel based on the communication that you're receiving. Not just what the words are, but how you feel when
Yeah.
those words land. Are there any other lessons that you would say people can apply to their lives?
I think
You know, based on what you've learned in this experiment.
I think just focusing on like yourself, what you want, and just dating with intention, I think is like the biggest thing, isn't it? And lots of people since the show, even if it didn't work out on the show, have ended up in relationships
Wow, look at that.
because they have learned how to date and they've learned, oh, actually, I'm scared of usually asking that question, but actually that's a question that I really want to ask. And that's something I want to know from a partner. So I'm going to ask that. Like, and people are less afraid, aren't
Yeah.
they, to ask those questions that are really important to them. And they are finding their people and they're finding the people that can reciprocate that. So it's so interesting.
that's nail on the head for Megan there, because it's feeling comfortable to ask uncomfortable questions. There's like no judgment because you're all going through the experiment. And I feel like on dates, people feel like they can't ask certain things because they feel like there's judgment. We were, not a lot of people know this, but you do get some prompts from some of like the dating experts on the show, and they will give you prompts of like, oh, you could talk about this today, you could talk about this today. And they can actually be quite helpful.
Oh, yeah.
Because it sort of frames the discussion. It lets you have a focus of what you want to achieve from that day, which makes it sound really business transactional, which maybe is why it worked well for me. But, you know, it helped me to go, I really want to know X, Y, and Z by the time I leave that pod from Megan.
So please tell us, what were some of those prompts? And also, were any of those prompts written in the notebook?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'd get like a daily,
Yeah, like
little,
a
like,
prompt.
yeah.
And some of them wouldn't be like some of them I just cross out and be like, that's not relevant to me, because
Yeah.
it might be relevant to other people. But the ones that were relevant, it did spark conversation.
And it's nice because sometimes I'm like, oh, I never thought to ask that. Like, lovely, we'll be asking that today. Like, it does really help you. And obviously, day to day, you don't have that help
Yes. Yes.
dating. So it's nice.
What were some of the prompts that stood out to you that you feel were most effective?
Oh, it's hard to.
I can tell you the weirdest one. The weirdest one was around sexual intimacy.
Okay.
Because to talk about that through a wall when you can't see the person,
Yeah.
you don't know if you're physically attracted to the person, is a really interesting part of the experiment. And to see if you have that like connection through the wall, I found that fascinating personally.
Yeah.
And we did. Like we had that sexual tension that you kind of want in a relationship through a wall. Which is mad.
But how did, because I heard you both say that you had the sexual tension.
Yeah.
But how do you determine that if you can't see the person?
I think we just like,
weird.
we were just like having a bit of a flirt, weren't we? And
Yeah.
like,
The silences, like sometimes, you know, when people choose to be silent, it tells you a lot. And like you could feel like she was like being a little giggly schoolgirl on the other side, and like, ooh, you know, I could feel that.
or we'd be like, oh,
I could feel that.
moving on from that question. Or like,
Okay.
Yeah, it's weird. That's the weirdest bit. Probably not the most important part of that dating period, but it was probably the strangest prompt for me.
yeah,
That
like
was
you could feel that through just
yeah.
voice and conversation.
Yeah, but
I'm trying to think really
there are
hard.
other ones like, you know, like delving into family. Like you see probably the moment realistically that we, well, that I fell in love. I shouldn't say we, because you
Oh.
told me later in the process. But certainly when I fell in love was when we started talking about families,
Yeah.
and really we got really deep. And you only see like a snippet of it on the show, but it got really deep. And I opened up about things that I haven't even told my best friends, which is, insane. And some of that's not aired. But that was the moment when I knew, because of the way Meg reacted and made me feel in that moment. I've never experienced that in my life, to be honest. So that was probably the moment for me.
Wow. Wow. If we could even talk about the scheduling of it, and I want to come back then and talk about that moment of you falling in love. So you're on the first date, first day.
Yep.
It's only 8 minutes.
Yep.
Right. Then what becomes the schedule then? Is it you have to identify if you like that person? Do you rate them?
You rate them.
You rate them from 0 to 10.
15.
0 to 15.
Yeah.
Ooh. Okay.
Oh, wait. Oh, sorry. So out of 15 people, it's like 1 to 15. So you just put them like in order.
Oh, wow.
So it's quite savage. Like, it's quite I really struggled with that. Like, emotionally, I was like, I feel awful. Like, just ranking people, but they're doing it to you. So I guess it's fine.
But there are some fundamentals from day one that if you don't align on, there's no point in continuing, because you are dating with intention. You're dating to find a wife, mother of your children, all of those things. Some people, the whole children thing wasn't even relevant for them, right?
Right.
So as soon as I know that, that's then, for me, it's like, well, this doesn't work. Or, even just you talk about where you're at in life, maybe ages. There was quite a range of age. We were actually some of the youngest people on the show.
Yeah.
So it was quite a range of ages. Some people younger than us, a lot older than us. And yeah, I think those things initially can be like,
Whittles it down.
like, yeah,
Yeah. Were you both each other's number one
the whole time.
Yeah.
the whole time?
The whole time.
But how does the conversation, when you go back to the groups, how does that impact your relationship? Because I think we saw that somewhat play out with someone that you were dating,
Yeah.
Kieran, and that person going back to the other girls, suggesting that she was in a close relationship with Kieran.
Yeah.
Right. So how did all that dialogue, you think, impact you? The impact among your peers?
Personally, in the lounge, I just took everything with a pinch of salt. I feel like it's very easy to be impacted by everybody else's conversations and their opinions of the boys. Like, everyone's dating the boys, and that's a difficult place to be if you're with 15 other girls.
Yes.
I mean, it's naturally going to get a bit heated. Like, everyone wants to meet someone. So yeah, it can get a bit tricky. And I was very aware of that. I feel like as a dancer as well, I've been in lots of situations like that.
So I just told everyone what was going on. I'd love to say that I was completely bulletproof, but there was one moment where Megan had told me that she was basically breaking it off with someone. Although I don't think we ever mentioned names, but I'd figured out who. I'd put 2 and 2 together. I knew who this boy was. And he came back from his date, which I knew was with Megan, like smiling loads and saying, "Oh, that was a really interesting date."
Wow.
And I was like, I had to put trust in that what Megan was saying was the truth and not what I was hearing from the chatter.
Wow.
And that's a really interesting test of a relationship.
Yeah.
And when we went back in the room together, and one of the girls had been trying to sway Megan's opinion on me, for her not to listen to that opinion and trust me was also another, it made me like her more, if I'm honest. It made me more interested in her, because I was like, okay, she trusts me.
Yes.
And that makes me really interested.
Yeah, it's so interesting because it's not just the dates. Like, the whole experiment actually is you being put with 14 other girls, you being put with 14 other boys. Like, yeah, you don't think about that really when you're going in. You're thinking, oh, it's the dates. But actually, it's how you deal with it and how you trust the person you're dating to get to that point.
Yes. There's like a gamification
A little bit.
almost.
Yeah.
And from the reality television that I've done, I've noticed, and this is terrible to say, but this is my experience. I've almost exclusively done love/dating reality TV.
Yeah.
And what I've found with the contributors is that everyone has an interest in dating or in love to a certain degree, but there are other competing interests. Or I shouldn't say competing, it's not mutually exclusive, but there are other interests that they have.
100%.
Brand building, I want to become an influencer, etc.
Yeah.
And I would imagine that that's the same case on the show.
Yep.
But the challenge, though, is you don't know when you're in that pod
What the other person's
what the other
incentives
person's
are.
incentives.
Yeah.
100, that, yeah.
Yeah.
Really
You have to
interesting.
really
that.
trust your gut. Like,
But how do
Yeah.
you do it, though?
Well,
It's
you-
like, how do you do it?
You have to basically just put yourself out there and trust. And if you get burnt, you get burnt.
Yeah.
Which obviously does happen to people on the show. We know there are other incentives going on reality TV. We're not
Yeah.
idiots, right? Like we spoke about that really openly early on, actually, in our relationship when we were in Cyprus on the holiday. We were like, look, we know there's potential here of a brand being built, and we need to stay honest about that.
Mm.
Because if we ever are not on the same page about that, that's going to cause issues in our relationship. So we early on addressed that, which I think was so important. But our primary thing was just to find someone.
Yeah.
And yeah, we did that.
And
Your story was a true love story, where what I've noticed with true love stories is they're easy.
Yeah, it was easy.
You know, they're almost boring.
yeah,
We
we
said-
got scared.
We were
We
like,
got scared. We're like, we're going to be so boring.
we were like, we think
seriously,
we're gonna
be
get
so
we're gonna get TV time, but then we were like, actually, maybe you were just boring. We had no drama. Like we were so it was so easy. It still is really easy. Like it's always been easy. The whole thing was easy. And hearing from other people, oh, we're really struggling with these bits, and we're like, are we missing something? Like, should we have had like a massive argument or
Yeah,
something?
like we're
Or,
almost
like,
annoying for other people. We're like, oh god, stop.
this is actually really easy.
Yeah,
Like-
and this is the way this is the way it typically is in high satisfaction
Right.
relationships, right? So now, Kieran, you mentioned that moment that you knew you were in love.
Yeah.
with Meg, right? And Meg said it a little bit later.
Yeah, a little bit later.
Just a little bit later.
Little-
a couple weeks
A
later.
few weeks, guys.
little bit later.
She said it. But now, what I'm curious about is how many days were you in the experiment before you knew? So before you said I love you,
Mm-hmm.
but before you knew you loved her.
It's probably about 3 days before the whole "Will you marry me?" piece. Which,
The last day.
So it's probably within. I fell in love in a week. Yeah,
Fell in love in a
fell
week.
in love in a week. That's the truth. Yeah, I mean,
But think
it's
about
bad, but I mean, it's true. Like that's how it is. Completely.
it. He owns it. He's like,
Yes, I
it's-
fell in love with the week.
I've never said those words out loud, but you know, yeah, it's true. It's true. 100%. It was. I mean, explaining what love is an impossible task, right? I can't sit here and explain to you what love is, but for me, I used the word obsessed quite a lot because I just felt obsessed with Megan, like the way she made me feel, the amount of fun we had on our dates, like the thought of spending the rest of my life with her. Even at that point, I haven't even met the girl. Like I was obsessed with the whole thing. I was just obsessed. So that's love for me.
okay. So, said Meg, you weren't there in a week, but he was tops for you.
Yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. He was always top
Oh.
for me. I knew Kieran was the one.
He was the one.
Yeah.
But now, what must be, and maybe it wasn't playing out in your mind, is you must be thinking, well, what does she look like, though?
Yeah. Oh, 100%. We'd actually spoken about the day before we knew we were gonna meet each other. So yeah, after I'd proposed, we then had a very brief conversation of like, should we write down what we think each other looks like? Because it'd be really funny to compare that. Because we actually did the experiment properly and we did not say at all what we looked like. So I had no idea. I thought Meg was 5'7", you're like 5'8", so not miles off. Similar sort of build that you are, but I thought her tattoos were a little bit more visible. And I thought she was brunette with a fringe, which you now do
No.
have, but you didn't have at the time. Brunette, fringe, bit edgy looking. That was the vibe I got from Meg. Obviously, I was completely wrong.
Okay.
And pleasantly surprised that she's beautiful. But yeah, I had no idea.
Yeah.
But I was thinking about it.
You were thinking about it?
100%.
Sure. Meg, what did you think Kieran looked like before you saw him?
I guessed him to a T.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
You
I
knew-
predicted. I was like, I can tell what this boy looks like. I feel like we'd been speaking for so long and we like in such depth. And obviously, he was like, I live in Tooting. I go out in Pear Tree. I was like, I know exactly what you. I can literally see it in my brain. And I wrote it down. I still have the piece of paper, don't I?
do, yeah.
I ripped out my book, which I wasn't supposed to do, but I was like, I'm keeping this. wrote it down. I was like 6. I think I said 6'2". Are you 6'1"?
6'2" and choose, guys.
You're like 6.
I think
I'm
6'2". I think it's 6'2", yeah. I
Literally
give
to
you
a T.
6'2", yeah.
Mousy blonde hair. I was like short back and sides, long on top. I was like, he's got like an athletic build, like footballer-esque. Honestly, to a T. And I saw him and I was like, Meg, well done. I was like, I am Mystic Meg. Like, I could just tell.
Wow.
It's mad.
All right, we have to get to the moment where you two saw each other. That must be cemented in your mind.
Crazy.
But right before that, you have to propose. So you are almost 2 weeks in.
Yeah.
You know in your heart you love her.
Yeah.
You're probably thinking about her every night.
Yeah. 100%.
Meg, are you thinking about Kieran every night?
Oh, every night.
Every night.
Yeah, I was
Having
writing
dreams?
letters, like everything, like
Yeah.
all the time.
All the time. Okay.
I dreamt that I met her like 3 times throughout the experiment in my dreams. Yeah. But obviously, she didn't look like this, but
Yeah, he told me that in the pods, and I was like, I don't know how to say that. I was like, that probably isn't me. Who you're thinking of?
But wow. But that, I'm trying to put myself in your shoes. So literally, you're just thinking about each other 24/7.
yeah.
Yeah.
In there.
It's obsessive. It's weird. Amazing though. Really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's very strange. I was the earliest person in the experiment to sort of make like quite a grand gesture. I sort of sent a gift round via the producers to Meg, and that was actually really early on. So I put my eggs in Meg's basket a lot earlier than other people had. Even though I continued to do the experiment like we spoke about to its fullest extent, I knew very early on that Meg was running away with it.
All right. Was this the ornament?
Yeah.
Yeah, that caused a little bit of
It caused a bit of a stir.
Yeah.
A bit of a stir.
But it sounds like you always knew she was number one, so it didn't matter to you.
No.
It was
I'm going to give everyone the time in the experiment to try and challenge my theory that Meg is the one. But it just, nothing ever got close. So
Yeah. You don't have to answer this, but this is my opinion, just knowing reality television and how it's cut, is in the show, it's depicted that there's someone else who's like a rival to Meg
yeah,
for you. When I looked at that, I never thought she was a rival.
no.
Was she ever a rival?
I was dating other people, not just the one person you see on the show. I was dating multiple other people at that point on the show. And that is a slightly manufactured love triangle, which, is for TV. And we know that.
Yeah.
It's entertainment.
Yeah.
So the reason why I thought that is because you showed up differently when you were talking to her versus you were talking to Meg.
Yeah.
Like you were just in what appeared to be a safer place.
Yeah.
With Meg.
Yeah.
So I thought, okay, this is good TV.
Yeah.
That's really what it is.
That is really what it is. And my, my mates that know me all watch that and sort of message me and we're like, we can tell that that's just TV.
Yeah.
Like it's not,
Yeah.
It's not, you're not in the room properly in those clips.
Yeah.
They know.
Fair.
They know.
Yeah.
Fair. So then you propose, Kieran. All right.
Yes.
Magical moment, right? What's going through your mind, Meg, when you hear the words, will you marry me, in essence, right? And you can't see him. You know you're on a show, but you know that if you say yes, you are on the pathway to a legal binding marriage, a real marriage.
Yeah. I think in the very moment that he said, will you marry me? I was just like completely fuzzy. I was in hysterical tears at the time as well, which probably didn't help. I think I was just in such disbelief as to where I was in that moment. Yeah, I was just in such disbelief. I don't think I even thought about what was coming next. I think I was just so in that moment right then. I was just over the moon. My heart was racing 100 miles an hour. And ultimately, I think I was just so excited to finally see Kieran. Like I knew that now this is happening. Like I'm going to see him tomorrow. I'm going to see this man and we're going to cause havoc. But I think I was just so overly excited, like, and in disbelief. I think that's the way I could describe it.
It's so fun for me being able to watch Meg on the other side receive that proposal, because obviously I didn't get to watch that. So watching it back, we got to recreate all of those memories. That my memory of that is obviously just of a purple wall, not of Meg's reaction. So it's quite nice to be able to like recreate those memories.
Yeah. Special moment.
Yeah.
And then obviously, Meg, you said yes. And that means that the following day you can see each other.
Yes.
All right. So now, the moment before you see each other.
Oh, God. Adrenaline through the roof.
Yes.
Most adrenaline I've ever had in my life.
Really?
Yes. Like shaking.
I'm quite calm.
Oh, you
Yeah, no, everyone's saying this to me like,
understand.
you must be, I think, because you'd had 24 hours, okay, I've had the stress, I'm trying to figure out what am I going to wear. I need to look sensational for him. Like, I need to be, so I think I'd had all the stress. I was like, right, I love my outfit. I feel like I'm feeling good. And I was like, I already felt like I knew what Kieran looked like as well. So I think I trusted myself so deeply.
I had no idea.
I was so calm.
I was so not calm.
I was just excited.
Opposite.
Are you more nervous about you disappointing her or Meg not living up to the expectation that you had?
That's interesting.
That's actually a really good question. And I'm not dodging the question. I actually don't know which one I was. I was nervous about both of those things. So I was basically nervous about us not connecting like physically, and like there being either me like just not quite feeling it, or I could just get that feeling from Meg, she's not quite feeling it, and it just not being natural. That scared the life out of me, because you can't hide that on TV. Like people will see if you are not 100% into the person.
Yes.
Thankfully, that wasn't my experience, but that was what my nervousness was.
And so, Meg, you weren't concerned at all.
No, I feel like I definitely thought about it. I thought, oh, it'd be really bad if it is awkward. But I think because we'd had this whole 2 weeks, like these deep conversations, we had a giggle, like we just connected so deeply. I just didn't worry about that. I was like, we've already done that. Like, I know him. Like, I know him so well. So it really is just the physical now.
Yes.
And I think I actually was so past that point. I don't think it actually would have really mattered, even though I did have an idea. But
Yeah. I'd convinced myself it doesn't matter. Like, I convinced myself, like, I'm in love with this girl. It does not matter what she looks like. But I couldn't tell you if I walked through there and I just didn't have that, I didn't have a physical attraction to Meg, maybe it would have made a difference. I don't know. I've never been in that situation before.
Right, to see.
But it probably, I don't know. I have no
yeah,
idea.
it's tricky. And like also like about myself, I'm thinking, yeah, did I ever think like, it's really hard to think about.
I think this is such an interesting topic.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, here's what the nerd in me says. So I know you said you've got a nerd deep down.
Yeah.
I have a big nerd deep down.
That's
Yeah.
so good.
So deep down is, I would argue that the strength of your emotional connection played a significant role in your perceived physical attraction. Right?
Probably true.
Yeah.
Because you see this play out in sex all the time, is that couples who have a stronger emotional connection have higher satisfaction sex. And you ask, well, why is that? It's because you feel so safe with the person that you feel like you can explore everything.
Yeah.
And then also, I think there's a combined self-esteem element that's at play. I would argue that you both have a high level of self-esteem. So therefore, there's no search for external validation. You know, it's not about, well, how does Meg look with me?
Yeah.
It's just, how do I think she looks?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not, how does Kieran look to the world? It's, how do I view him?
Yeah.
And I would argue that both your strength of your emotional connection, your high self-esteem, did play a role in that physical attraction.
I think so, for sure. I think that's back. I think that's right.
Yeah.
I was instantly attracted physically, but
You look that way.
yeah, but it probably, yeah, it comes from that's Meg. Like that's the girl I'm in love with. Like, that's probably the initial thing, and then yeah, I mean, I also really fancied her, which is great. But
Yeah. Did you plan the kiss, or it just?
no.
Oh, you can't plan that.
No. I wanted to
Literally
hug you. I hugged you first because I felt like I wanted to like embrace her first, and then I think I like stepped back,
I
to-
planted the kiss on you, eh?
and then you just flew in, and I was like, yes, let's go.
Yes. This is good. So now also, do you feel a sense of relief? Because you now know you've got the emotional, you have the physical. Now it's like,
It's pure excitement then.
it's just,
yeah,
we take off together.
Oh yeah.
it's
Okay.
pure
Yeah.
excitement then. Then I was just so excited.
It's almost like being on a high, wasn't it? Where
Yeah.
we were just like, this is unreal.
Yeah,
How have
it's so
we done
cool.
this?
Like, this is so cool.
We didn't want to leave because it's quite short, that meeting.
How long is it?
5, 7.
Bit longer than
Is it
that.
10
I reckon
minutes?
it's like 10, 15. They don't tell you, but I reckon it's about 10, 15. But it feels like it goes like that. And then you're being told, right, We need to separate you and you'll see each other in Cyprus, which, by the way, is 3 days later.
So you don't see each other.
So you don't see each other for a bit, and it's horrible.
So it's like
It's horrible.
that short period, you have that massive like explosion of emotions, and then it's like, right,
So yeah,
see ya, separation, back in your hotel rooms, right? See you never. I was like,
separate for 3 days.
Oh my gosh. That's why you're saying goodbye. Like you don't want to stop saying goodbye as the door is closing.
Yeah.
Like you don't even fly in together. It's like you
all separate, yeah, boys
Separately.
and girls.
Separate hotels, separate everything,
see each other.
and then yeah.
Okay. So how was Cyprus? You have more of the reality TV element
Yes.
at play.
Yeah.
You know, so how did you find that
Yeah,
time?
the cameras in your face are a bit weird to get used to, aren't they?
Yeah, it was very odd. Obviously, it's the first day that we've seen each other after 3 days. So we're still like this, like, hello.
Oh, you are real. You are real.
Hey, I'm like looking at his hands like, wow, like, okay, this is my fiance. We're in Cyprus, okay.
Yeah.
And we were just.
But we were like
filmed.
this.
Yeah.
straight
Oh yeah.
away.
We
The whole-
were, yeah.
That was the most amazing thing was we were like we are now straight away.
Yeah, we were
Like-
very lucky.
Very tactile, very like all over each other. But what I will say is, we had the best time in Cyprus.
Yeah.
Like we just loved. I mean, ultimately, we were on holiday together in a beautiful place, 5-star resort. You know, Netflix's card on the room service. Thank you very much. You know, you can't really argue with that. And yes, we had to do lots of filming. We did have time on just ourselves as well. Not loads, but we did have time to ourselves. And we just had the best time. We spoke to some of the other couples and I don't think they had the best time, which is also a telling in my opinion, but we actually just loved it, didn't we?
Yeah. There was drama going on that we had no idea about. So, like at the pool party, there's like conversations happening. And we were with these couples for 4 weeks from that point, and we had no idea about half of the stuff that was even going on.
But it's
So
funny.
I think we were just like,
You-
just having a great
You
time.
get to those mixes where all the couples are mingling, and the producers would be like, right, can you go and speak to X? Or you know how it goes, right? You go
Yes.
speak to X. We often just said no. And we were like,
Interesting.
actually, we want to hang out together.
Interesting.
Which you start to realize you do have the power to push back.
Yeah.
You don't initially realize that, but you start to realize, oh, actually, if I don't want to do this, I just say no and then I don't have to do it.
Yeah.
And we just decided that this experiment is about us. As much as I actually do get on with all of those boys on the show and love them, like great people. I've got time after this that I can build those friendships more and, you know, spend time with them. I've got a very short amount of time to get to know this lady as well as I can before I bloody decide to marry her.
Yes.
I'm going to spend every minute I can with her. So I actually did that, and Meg did that too. We didn't actually hang out with the other people that much. We just spent all of our time together.
Yeah. Our priorities were with each other.
Yeah.
And we I think the producers got that quite quickly. They were like, we won't ask you again.
What you are talking about right now, I think, is a massive topic that is not discussed enough when it comes to reality TV and the love genre.
Mm.
And that is exactly what you said. If you don't want to do it, you don't have to do it.
Yeah.
And I think this speaks to the incentive and almost your North Star on the project.
Yeah.
Right. So if it is to find love, if that's the top,
Yeah.
and you feel like I'm finding it,
Yeah.
then you're good.
Yeah.
You know, but if the North Star is brand building,
Mm.
maybe you say yes every time the producer asks you to do something.
Yeah.
Paul's about to show you a presentation he made in Adobe Express, so you better be nice.
You might not know this, but I am the proud co-owner of the mighty Sutton United Football Club. And this year, I had the honor of designing our away kit. First things first, Sutton Amber, black, the crest, the fonts, locked in with our sponsor, Adobe Express's brand kit. I was presenting to the board, and the story I wanted to tell was that we're modern. We're sleek. Yes, we were founded in 1898, but we're still a club that belongs in 2025. I wanted everyone from a 10-year-old to a 90-year-old in the stands to say, I want that. All over Sutton United script pattern. Mono crest, amber trim. I obsessed over the collar.
Okay, Paul, are you ready?
Yes! 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 Look at that! Look at that! That is it! That is it! Yes.
Got a pitch to make? Adobe Express is the quick, easy, and free app to create anything, like this presentation.
Have you ever been on a date where you're trying so hard to just be yourself that suddenly it feels impossible? You start overthinking everything. How to sit normally, what to do with your hands. Then you end up doing something weird like this. Now, let's flip that. I want you to think about how you are when you're with your best friend. It's usually when we're our truest selves. And when you're in that zone, it's actually a great time to meet someone new. In that setting, you're naturally thriving. It's why our sponsor, Tinder, created their new double date feature, where you and your bestie can connect with other single pairs. Instead of that high-pressure one-on-one environment, now you're at a group hang. Conversation flows better, and if you stumble, your bestie is literally right there to catch you. If solo dating makes you act like a glitchy version of yourself, invite a friend along. Download Tinder today and try Double Date, because everything is better with your bestie. So, this is a great time to talk about. There was an incident that happened, right, that I think everyone who's watched the show is aware of. You were both pulled into it. I think, Meg, you in particular were pulled into it.
Yeah.
But what I'd like to focus on with regard to that incident is how it impacted your relationship, because there are certain things at play that I found very interesting. For example, I think that there's this whole notion of bro code.
Yeah. There's a bit of that going on.
Right?
For sure.
And it's like, oh man, did Kieran break bro code?
Yeah.
Right? Then there's also a conversation around, well, do you always stand up for your partner in a moment of contention?
Yeah.
Right? And then there's girl code. Do I always tell my girls, or is it my responsibility?
Yeah.
Right? There were so many things that were happening. I thought it was fascinating. I thought you both handled it exceptionally well.
Thank you.
But how would you describe what happened and how that impacted your relationship?
It's a really interesting question.
It's hard to explain it.
It started off with, we both witnessed some behavior from one guy on the show that you wouldn't want to see from a fiance. Right. That's how I'll characterize it.
Yeah.
Okay. The behavior wasn't of one that was about to get married to someone. And then you're put in this difficult position of, I really like this guy. Like we got on well. Like we had a decent relationship. But Meg also really gets on with his fiance. So it's like, well, we're sitting on some information now, and are we better people for sharing the information, or better people for sitting on the information and letting them figure that out themselves?
Right.
And
can I say that is an issue that almost every couple faces?
Yeah.
At some part.
yeah,
Like, do you sit on it or do you tell?
yeah,
Like, what do you do? So I'm curious, did you both have a conversation?
yeah,
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. We had a day, didn't we, in between, because we were both filming in different
In different
locations,
places,
so we couldn't have the conversation with them
yeah.
straight after. So, we had a conversation. We were like, what's the right thing to do? Like, we're also on a TV show. So how do we get this information to them without, we didn't want to be in the middle of it. Like, of course, we know this is going to cause
So
drama.
Yes.
And that was the one thing we were like, we don't want to be a part of any drama because we're not interested in causing that. But it was like, the one question I asked Meg, which I think was the simple question to ask, was, if we weren't on a TV show right now, what would you do?
Mm.
And she said, I'd tell her.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, then do that.
Yeah. She ended up leaving the experiment, and then the next day.
Which was also a shock, by the way. To
Yeah,
us.
we didn't know that was
We
going to
didn't
happen.
expect her to leave the experiment. Kind of expected them to have a conversation about it and try and communicate as to, what happened.
Yeah, I wanted to give her the information. I was like, you do whatever you want with that information, but I just need you to know that, because if it was the other way around, I would have absolutely wanted you to tell me.
But then, the sort of fully answering your question, the bro code thing was interesting, because I was like, I don't want to rat my guy out, right? But at the same time, like, I know what's right and wrong, and I know some of the stuff that was said and some of the behavior was not right. And so I backed Meg in going and telling his fiance. And then when he then essentially wanted to call us out for doing that, then it was like, oh, okay, now I'm involved.
Yes.
Because I backed, my fiance in her telling her, and I think she's done the right thing. So if another guy is going to call her out for that, I need to be there to support her and make sure that, that he knows that what he did was wrong and this is not mine and Meg's issue. This is your issue. You guys need to go and talk about that.
Right.
And I really appreciated that from Kieran. He was a great little cheerleader on the way there. Because
It gets quite heated.
I had no idea. I wasn't prepared to have a conversation like that.
Yeah.
I don't know what I was. I think I was just on a different planet. I think I look at everything airy-fairy.
I mean, watching it, I can't imagine what it was like in the room.
Yeah.
Oh, it was.
Because watching, so now we're talking about the second conversation where you both come
Yeah.
to talk to the gentleman.
Yes.
Right? Yeah. And in that, I thought, wow, because you're aware that she's left, correct, at that point.
Yeah.
So you know he's heated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I actually sat Meg down before we went into the room, off camera, and because I know Megan very well, and Megan won't back down if she thinks she's in the right, which is an amazing quality. But it also means if I knew how he was going to respond, because all you can do in that situation is get defensive, try and focus on semantics, certain things that like you could try and like make someone look like they're lying because they've got certain little elements of the story wrong, right? That's how he was going to approach the conversation. And I knew that before he went in. So I said to Meg, just don't get your back up, because ultimately all you need to say is, look, I saw what I saw. So I said what I said, your problem, you go and deal with it. Like, this is not my issue. It got really heated in the room, as I knew it would, and Meg hit the roof as I knew she would, because she doesn't take bullshit, which I love about her. But I was then trying to sort of be the calm in the room and be like, Meg, we don't need to like get angry or emotional. Like, we've done the right thing. Like, let's just be confident in that. But yeah, it got quite emotional and heated.
Yeah, I didn't expect it, I think, as well. You did warn me, but I was like, no, it's going to be fine. But we ended up going around in circles. It was actually way longer than it looked on the TV. And I just got very frustrated after a while. And I was like, you know what? Agree to disagree. Like, here's what it is. And let's just leave that there. Like,
But what I saw is then it looked like you left the room
I did leave the room.
and you started crying.
Yeah, I did cry. Yeah.
So I actually left the room at that point, which you don't see. So I ran after Meg
Interesting.
and consoled her. And then I came back to the room to finish the conversation one-on-one. And then we wrapped up and we went off.
Yeah, it was quite
Well,
emotional, wasn't it?
so how it was left, though, it appeared as if you still had a relationship
Yeah.
with the gentleman. Like, you were cordial.
Yeah.
He was cordial with you.
Yeah.
Right. But that your relationship with him was over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's probably a fair synopsis.
Yeah.
So then how is that maintained as a couple? Because it's interesting. My wife and I have had situations where it's been similar, right?
Yeah.
Where she's blown up on someone, right? I'm like, but that's still my man. So
Yeah.
this stuff.
It's tough.
Yeah, like, what do you do?
No, yeah.
I think that's how you have to deal with it. Like, you have to be like, look, I appreciate that's a bad situation, deserves to be called out. He's wrong. I back you to the hills on that. Like, we're together on that. Doesn't mean I'm not going to go for a beer with him, because it's not all bad, you know?
Yeah. All right. I mean, I don't think you guys have had an argument yet. I don't want you to have an argument right now.
But we communicate properly.
No, we do.
We talk about
And
this
I'm
stuff.
aware that we're different human beings, like, and you're going to get, like, you spent all that time with Jav and you are pally with him, and I didn't have that relationship with him. So it's like, that's fine. That's fine. I'm happy to not have a relationship with him. So,
But one last topic that I want to mention within this is how masculinity is perceived
I love that you brought this up.
on television, in particular on television.
Yeah.
Because I had no idea how influential TV was when I first started doing television.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, this is entertainment. But what I've realized is that many people do take their cues based on what they see.
Yeah.
And they think about the world in terms of its possibilities as well as limitations based on what they see. And we're living in a day and age right now where there's a lot of complaints around men's behavior, specifically on reality shows.
Yeah.
Right. So, Kieran, in particular, did you
Yeah.
feel a responsibility to show up in a particular way on this program?
No, I don't think I felt a responsibility to show up in a particular way. I think I just wanted to be myself. But I think only after the show, so in the last sort of few weeks since it's been airing, you've seen some other reality shows come out where, yeah, men haven't behaved brilliantly. That's very politically correct. Men haven't behaved in the right ways. And you see some examples of it on our show as well. And we, coming out of it, we're getting a lot of questions, and there's this real feeling about, girl power and girls sticking together, which is amazing. And I fully back that. And there's some beautiful examples of that on our show. Meg's involved in some of them, which is amazing. But what I don't want it to turn to is men are shit. Men are terrible. Like, all men are terrible. Like, how am I supposed to find a man in this world? They're all rubbish examples of human beings. And I feel like those two things, unfortunately, are linked, and they shouldn't be. And I do think there are a lot of poor examples out there of men on reality TV at the moment, and in the wider world, which ultimately is having a negative impact on young men, because all they're growing up with is the men are shit line, which is what is being portrayed. And then they will turn to examples of masculinity that are like, men are great, be a man, you can, we think you're strong, be strong, and just the wrong types of masculinity, in my opinion, and toxic masculinity. And that's what they grow up believing. They, oh, well, these people like me, these people care about me, so I'm going to be more like that.
Yes.
And that's really dangerous. So I didn't feel a responsibility, because I ultimately just wanted to be myself. But what I hope is that I was an example of a good version of masculinity. That's what I hope. And I want to continue to be that. And I'm still learning. Like, Meg's taught me a lot in the last year, being with her, about, what she expects of a man, and, what, I think I'm still learning. I don't think I'm the perfect example of it, but I like to think that I'm not a bad example of it.
Yeah, fair enough. Meg, what's your take on it? Because oftentimes especially in this podcast, I have conversations with men about masculinity.
Yeah.
I'd love to have it with a woman, if I could.
Yeah.
Right.
I find it really, really difficult to articulate myself in this area, but yeah, I think we all should expect more.
Yeah, and to answer your question,
Well said.
Thank you. Sorry.
Well said.
I think you're doing an amazing job.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I think, I didn't listen to your podcast until I was with Megan.
There you go.
And now I've listened to, the John Stevens episodes, the Youngblood episodes. I love those guys. And I think they're brilliant examples of masculinity. And I think you articulate it much better than I will ever articulate it. But I now feel a bit more of a responsibility, I would say, to educate young men on, like, how to handle themselves, and not to fall into the trap of watching people like Andrew Tate and all these absolute expletives, insert here, people that are just versions of toxic masculinity.
Yeah.
Well said, both of you.
I
Well
was
said, both of you.
flustered then, sorry.
No. Because it's interesting. You've both been thrusted into
Yeah.
this role, a role that you probably didn't ever think that you would have, but now you do.
Yeah.
And it's interesting, with the platform comes responsibility.
Yeah.
And I like that you're stepping up to that responsibility.
But it's only since you get the messages below, I'm trying to experiment a bit more with my fashion, right? Since meeting Meg, not just since the show. And, the comments that you get are just like, are we in, like, the 1800s? Like, what's going on here, guys?
It's very
Like,
backwards.
What are the comments that you get?
oh, Kieran's a homo, he looks like a lesbian, like and it's just like, do you know what? You're not actually who I care about. You're not my target audience. If you can't appreciate what I'm trying to do here, then sorry to you. I feel sorry for you.
I think what you're doing is amazing, Bab. I love it. I love it. It's so nice to see, like, a man who's, like, brave enough to go out and be like, no, actually, I'm going to wear something totally different to everyone else. Like, no matter what anyone says, I feel good. Therefore, I'm just going to rock with it. And, like, people who matter will give you the stamp of approval, won't they?
Yeah.
They're like, yeah, great. Like, if people don't like it, they don't like it. You're not going to please everyone. And I think at the end of the day, you just got to roll with it.
You got to roll with it. So I'd say I am so there. I am so there to the point where I do the same thing. I have actually refused to wear a blazer for the next year.
Oh,
cool.
love that.
Well done.
Yeah.
Proud of you.
And actually, for the last year, I haven't worn a blazer. And it's very hard to do as an expert on television
Yeah.
to not wear a blazer.
Yeah.
It's hard, actually.
But it's the same thing. I think, I always say I want to express myself
Yeah.
and how I feel. And when I walk out of the house, I want to feel good.
Yeah.
And I don't need anyone else to tell me you look a certain way. Like, Paul, that's terrible. That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Why are you wearing this? I get comments all the time. There was one show where someone said, I'd like to burn Paul's wardrobe for the entire series. Like, I just want to burn his wardrobe. And when I read that, I was like, yes.
Yeah,
got
you
through.
know. Yeah.
I'm kind of loving the
Yeah.
kind of loving the hate comments, because I'm like, okay, we're changing.
People are talking
things.
about it. It's like,
going back to the masculinity thing. It's hopefully shaping people's views on what masculinity is, which is ultimately whatever you bloody want it to be.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's cool. I'm up for it.
Yeah.
Throw
I
the
love it.
hate.
Yes. But obviously, you're taking your cue from your style icon.
Exactly. I mean, she was always stylish.
Who really, yeah, I
She was very
I give Meg a 10-10
oh,
on her looks on Love is Blind. 10-10 across the board. But you said that you get some comments that are a little bit off.
yeah, like especially, the first images that came out of us, they were edited.
They did.
a
They
certain
did my
way.
girl dirty. On
I
those
was done
first
quite
ones.
dirty. But yeah, my outfit choice. See, I thought I was going bold. I was like, right, I'm going bright pink, blazer 2-piece, diamond hearts all over it. Like, it's giving love. Love is blind. People were ripping into me. What the hell is she wearing? This is outrageous. Who do you think you are? I was like, oh, what? I thought I slayed.
Yes.
But throughout it as well, I got told I looked like a runner bean on fire at the reunion.
We had a gig at that one.
I did love that, to be fair.
gig at that.
I thought that was so funny. I was like, fair play. I was like, actually, that was quite good. But yeah, people are always going to hate. I think we're learning that quite quickly.
Yeah.
No matter what you put out there, not everyone's going to love it.
So now, can we go back to Cyprus?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
All right. So just between Cyprus, which was your honeymoon, no, I'm sorry, that's not your honeymoon. That's your
Pre-moon.
Pre-moon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pre-moon.
Whatever that
Okay.
is, yeah.
It's your pre-moon, all the way through to you then see each other's family, friends, etc., and then ultimately it leads to the wedding.
Mhm.
And Meg, did you say that's a 3-week period,
Roughly, yeah.
roughly?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. So in that time, was there anything that really shocked you? Like really surprised you? Not necessarily about your partner, but maybe about the process, maybe about love, maybe in the preparation of getting married. Was there anything that truly stood out to you during that 3-week period?
I think there was only kind of a one sort of 2-day period, I want to say, where we felt a bit overwhelmed throughout the whole process. What was encouraging was that we both felt overwhelmed at the same time. And we would go on walks together off camera to discuss how we're feeling. And again, just communication really strong. And I think it was at the time, it was quite early on after Cyprus. We just moved in together in Manchester. We're just sort of getting used to living together, although that was pretty easy, to be fair. And you just get thrown guys, because of how long you need to give notice to have a legal wedding, you need to sign some stuff now. You need to start picking things for the wedding, like flowers and all of this stuff, before we even know whether we're actually going to get married.
Wow.
And we were like, whoa,
Scary.
what are we actually signing up to here? And I think we had it wasn't a wobble necessarily, because we were so good at communicating through it, but it was I'm a bit overwhelmed.
I think I was staring into the abyss, and you were like, "Are you okay, Meg?" And I was like, we're picking out a wedding cake. My brain can't process that. That's crazy.
Yeah.
But
Did you at any point, especially during that period, think about walking away?
I think we had a conversation, didn't we?
Yeah.
I think we were like, right, we've got 2 weeks from now to learn as much about each other, do what we need to do. And if we don't feel like we're ready to get married, we'll leave the experiment
Really?
together.
We had
but
we had an off-screen agreement.
yeah, we would never go to the aisle and be like, oh, is someone going to say no? We were never going to do that to each other.
Again, that comes back to what the producers would want you to do and what actually you have to do. You have no obligation to go to that aisle. We'd built such a connection, clearly. I never would have put Meg in a wedding dress if I wasn't going to say yes to her, firstly, because I just think what a traumatic experience to put someone through, that you just don't need to put them through that. I never would have asked her to bring her family there if I wasn't going to say yes to her. And I think she felt the same back, and we basically had an agreement. We said, if we're not doing it, we're not doing it. So by the time we were there, I was 99.9% sure that we were doing it. Obviously, there's always the slight risk of these things, but yeah, I was 99.9% sure.
So then going into the wedding, then where is the wedding?
In Aberdeen.
We actually did it up in Scotland. Yeah,
Scotland.
Yeah, so those family members are actually flying.
They're
all the
flying
way to
up there.
Aberdeen.
Yeah,
It's not even round the corner. It's like they're taking the day off work.
yeah.
Some of them are paying themselves to go up there.
My mates, bless them, because it was such like last minute. They took the day off work on the Wednesday, and they were getting the flights back the Thursday early morning, the 6 a.m. flight, to then go to work in the office at 9 a.m.
Yeah.
I was like, fair play, guys.
Yeah, loads of our
Proper
friends and
friends.
families did that.
Sacrifice.
Yeah,
Are you limited in how many people you can invite?
Yeah.
You are. Okay.
20 each side. So it's like a 40-person wedding, which actually we are going to, by the way, we're going to renew vows, and we're going to do a bigger one, which is going to be really fun in April.
A love party.
Yeah, we're calling it a love
A love party.
Yeah.
So we're calling it, which is going to be fun. But if I was to do it again, that is the amount of people I would have. It was so nice to have it quite intimate. We weren't going around talking to people we hadn't spoken to in years. It was all of our closest people. Obviously, there's some people who couldn't make it, and we'd love them to be there. But generally, it was all of our closest people. And yeah, I would have done it like that again.
Yeah, Netflix absolutely smashed it. We were like, this is unreal.
It was beautiful.
Yeah.
It was beautiful.
We were so happy.
And especially once you get past that altar part, is there the preamble? I would imagine there's that 1%, the 0.0001% of tension comes because
Yeah.
there's the walk.
Yeah.
You see friends and family are there. So that heightens.
I was an emotional wreck. I don't know if you saw that, but I couldn't get my words out. Like, I literally couldn't speak. I was, I was blubbing, wasn't I?
You're cute, Bubba.
Yeah. I mean, you got emotional with your father.
Yes.
Saw that.
Yeah, that was the first time in the day that I got emotional. And it's weird because, it's TV, it's reality TV. So like I can see my dad standing there waiting to get his cue to come speak to me. So it's not completely natural. But then as soon as we were in that conversation, it just like I didn't even think about the cameras. And it just felt like really real. And it was real because I was getting married, and my dad was speaking to his son who was getting married that day. So that's the beauty of reality TV. It's bloody mad, isn't it? But
so mad.
The emotions and the stories that it pulls from you.
yeah,
Meg, a story that you told that was it broke my heart. And then I thought about it, of course, when you mentioned it earlier in the pods, but then later at your wedding is when you were your father, you were working somewhere
Oh, yeah, when
Yeah.
I was working in the pub.
in the pub.
Yeah.
Your father, so you were working in the pub. How old were you at that point?
I must have been 18.
You were 18.
Yeah.
And this is your biological father
Yes.
comes into the pub, and you had not yet met him. Is that correct? What's the story? I don't want to.
I
Sure.
hadn't seen him since I was about 6 years old. So yeah, my mum and him broke up when I was a baby. I would only see him like on Wednesdays. And then from the age of 6, I didn't see him anymore. I just knew it was him. Very strange experience, like very surreal. And I was serving them. I was like, hello, what would you like? Like pouring them a beer. He didn't say anything. His partner was just speaking to me, but it was just very odd. Like, I think he was looking around, didn't know what to do with himself. And yeah, I turned to my best friend that I was working with, like, I think I've just served my dad. Like, and she was like, she knew the whole situation. And she was like, you go home, do your thing. Came back the next week and had left me a card. And it didn't really have much in it. It was just like, hey, Meg, lots of people wish they knew you. Have a good Christmas and birthday, because it was around Christmas time. Yeah, and I was like, okay, like, what do I do with that? Like, it was such a surreal moment. Like, even now, I was talking about it, I'm like, yeah, that did happen. But again, I feel like I just blocked it out.
You blocked it out.
Yeah.
So you hadn't. So then, from what I understand, you didn't speak. You haven't spoken to your father
No,
since that moment.
no. His partner did actually message me on Facebook after that, which was a very interesting situation. She messaged me saying, you really look like your dad. That was it. And I was like, such an
odd thing.
odd thing to send someone that you don't know. And I don't know if he speaks about me. I don't know. So yeah, just very surreal situation, but never spoken to him. He lives in Brighton, where I've always lived. round the corner. Like we could have had a relationship quite easily, I feel, but it's just never happened. So yeah, I think that probably has had a big impact in my life without me really realizing.
I think you realize.
Yeah.
I think you realize. But I tell you why I thought about that story at your wedding, because I thought, wow, there's a good chance your father is watching
Yeah.
this.
Yeah.
Did you think that he could be?
Yeah, I don't really think about it too much, but I do remember them asking, like, would you like him to come? And I was like, no, I'm not speaking to him. Like, I wouldn't want him to come. But yeah, I have thought about if he's watched it and like what he's thinking. But again, I don't know him. He's a stranger to me. I don't know anything about him. I don't know what he does. I don't know. He might have kids. I might have siblings that I don't have a clue about. So yeah, to me, I don't really need to have a relationship with him anymore. I've gone through my life. I've gone through my childhood. I've had a father figure who has been amazing, and my mum's always been amazing. And yeah, so I just kind of, again, I've blocked him out a bit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
fair enough. It was one of those where that's what came over my mind watching the wedding.
Mm.
And I think about these things now because I am a father, and I don't, and there's a part of my calculation of being a father that I don't understand how you can be aware that you have a child that you don't see and talk to and look after and care for, and the impact that it makes then on that child,
Yeah.
and how they then show up in the world, and then how they love. And I think you've done an extraordinary job of showing up in this world in a full way. You know what I mean? Without having that particular aspect of love
Yeah.
from your biological father, but you've had love, obviously, from so many other incredible people
Yeah.
in your life. And I think that's why this union is so special to me, because now you not only have a partner who you are in love with, but I can imagine that you two are going to have a massive family. Like massive. Like truly, you must, like, am I just saying this, or are you going to have a massive family?
I think, yeah, we feel very passionately about it.
Yeah,
You have a massive family.
we can have a good sized family.
I don't know. I'll have to pop them out, Matt. If you could pop some out as well, that'd be good.
So then you get married, you're officially married, right? But that's a year before the show comes out.
Yeah.
So then you have to keep this relationship secret
Yeah.
for a year.
Yeah. It's,
Oh, yeah.
How do you do that?
It's so mad, isn't it? Like, I mean, I introduced Meg as my girlfriend to everyone, right? So she was my girlfriend, and we had a whole backstory as to how we met, which was that I was sat having a coffee in a coffee shop in King's Cross, and Meg walked in to order a coffee, and I was like, wow, she's hot. I'm gonna get a number. And I walked up to her, approached her in the coffee shop, and got a number, and that's how we met. That's what we tell people.
We thought we'd make it a bit spicy, and so everyone was like, just say like Hinge or. And I was like, no, we may as well make this fun, you know,
Be
like
cute. Yeah.
keep you know, keep the excitement alive, because everyone we told were like, that never happens. Oh my gosh, you're so lucky. Oh my gosh, I hope that happens to me. And we're like, at least we're like keeping, you know, the
Yeah.
the
Again,
spark alive. Like it's
keeping it
giving people
alive.
hope. And we were like, that's nice. I think people now watching it are like, oh, it never
you
happened.
laugh.
You
laugh.
lied to us.
You lied to us.
You met in a pod.
Yeah. I think how we met was even cooler, to be fair.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, it's been really hard keeping it a secret for a whole year.
Yeah, there's been a few viral TikToks that have managed to figure out, in that, like when the show first came out a few weeks ago, like they'd gone through our Instagrams and managed to find like we're wearing the same wristband, which actually was a hotel wristband in Ibiza that you needed to get back into the hotel.
Oh my gosh. Oh my God.
Seen it.
And even though I tagged that photo as me being in Greece, to throw people off the scent, like they'd figured it out. And also my stepmom has a painting that manages to creep into the back of a couple of photos that we've got on our own Instagrams. And she was very excited that her painting was in Cosmopolitan. But
Or even people were zooming in on like Kieran had sunglasses on and I'd taken the picture. People had zoomed in.
Oh, to see the reflection.
Seen
Yeah,
a reflection,
yeah,
like, and it's really faint of me in my like
Great.
Brazil top.
mad.
Yeah, and they were like, Megan took that picture. I was like, Oh my gosh, we've been done in. We thought we were so good. We thought we'd smashed it.
Not as good as you thought.
We
No.
can't fool them.
But I think the beauty though is you had a year as a couple
Yeah.
Exactly.
together before all of the fanfare.
I think we maybe accelerated in that year to try and experience as much as we possibly could because we knew we were going to be in the public eye in a year's time. So we were like, let's go on as many holidays as we can. Let's go to as many gigs as we can, festivals, just like let's experience as much as we can together. Because even now, like when we're out together, we are getting recognized. We're getting pictures taken. Like that's a whole new thing for us.
It's crazy.
And we knew that was potentially happening. We didn't know how big that was going to be or how much it was going to blow up. We knew that was potentially coming. So we had this year of not being in the public eye, which we were so grateful of and just helped solidify our relationship, really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's been a yes year. Like
Yeah.
we've not stopped, have we?
No. Yes to everything. Yeah, we'll go here. Yeah, we'll go there. Let's just experience as much as we can.
It's so important to say yes.
Yeah.
Now, I have a gift for both of you.
Oh.
And knowing that you two are geniuses, you both are geniuses.
What is this?
This is my gift.
Oh.
This is a gift that I have not given to any other guest here on We Need to Talk.
Oh.
This is a letter that I wrote to both of you.
Oh my God.
And if you would allow me, I'd like to read it to you.
Oh, I'm going to cry. I'm going to cry.
No.
Oh, that's amazing.
Okay, you ready for this?
Yeah, we're ready.
Ready?
I need to sit up.
Get ready, get ready.
Okay.
Okay. And I'm thankful that Meg allowed me to call her Meg because I start the letter Meg. Kieran. Meg and Kieran. I'm going to give this to you right after I read this to you.
Oh, thank you so much.
Yeah.
First off, congratulations are in order. Saying yes to a marriage is always a bold move, but saying yes sight unseen, well, that takes courage and faith on another level. Now, you've joined a very rare group of people, you talked about this earlier, Kieran, who have literally chosen love before seeing the face in front of you. Now, that's powerful. As you step into this next chapter, I thought I'd pass along a few lessons from over 20 years of marriage with my wife, Jill. Consider these less like commandments and more like tools.
Okay.
All right? Use them, remix them, laugh at them. You need to, but don't forget them. Okay, don't forget these. Now, here are the 7 tips for both of you. Number 1, and this is in no particular order, okay? Keep the fights clean. Keep the fights clean. Conflict is healthy. Stonewalling isn't. Argue as teammates against the problem, not opponents against each other. And learn the magic word sorry. Use that often. Number 2, passion is a practice. It's not solely about sex. It's in the small daily acts, compliments, quality time, gratitude that build intimacy. And here's a hot take that many people will disagree with me on, but I know this to be a fact. And that is scheduling sex is not always unromantic, okay? It can be strategic when you are busy and you have all those adopted kids, okay? Trust me. Trust me. All right. Number 3, trust is built in the small things. Call when you say you will call. Show up when you say you will show up. Deliver on your word. Consistency equals safety. And I would argue that's how you fell in love with each other, is through your consistency to each other. Number 4, stay curious about each other. Stagnation is the silent killer of marriages. Relationships don't stay the same. They grow or they wither. Keep asking almost every day, how are we doing as a couple? We had Nadia Hussein on, phenomenal conversation, and she talked about how her and her husband, rate each other every night.
Wow.
0 to 10 scale.
That's
Oh my gosh,
amazing.
About that. But they're checking in. It's very important to check in. How are we doing as a couple?
That's cool.
Number 5, don't outsource your relationship. Your friends are not your marriage therapists. Seek proper counsel, not casual advice. There's a big difference. Number 6, boundaries matter. Know them, hold on to them. Even with the most loving partner, Ignoring your boundaries invites resentment. And number 7, last but not least, keep the sex dirty. Enough said on that.
That's my
I'm
favorite.
yeah.
Of course it is. Of course it is.
You dirty dog.
I saw those hips moving. I saw.
I get to work. Yeah. Sorry. I got
He's going crazy now.
carried away. I'm sorry.
He's going crazy.
Get to a day, he's off.
All right. The key to a successful marriage isn't avoiding challenges. Far from it. You want to face those challenges together, hand in hand, sometimes with tears, sometimes with laughter, but always with intention. Jill and I are still figuring it out after decades. And honestly, that's the part of what keeps things exciting. I wish you both nothing but joy, growth, and plenty of clean fights and a bit of dirty fun along the way with love and respect, Paul.
Oh my God. Thank you so much.
I love that.
That's
That is
beautiful.
to both of
Oh
you.
my God, that's so nice. We're
so
going to have to frame
much.
that.
That is to both of you.
That is getting framed. Thank you so much.
Oh my gosh, I love that. Thank you so much.
Oh,
I-
that's beautiful.
I think you both are exceptional. I've truly enjoyed watching your love story. I like how you've spoken truth to power through your, through at least what I saw. Can't imagine what was not aired. I think there were some very hard moments where many people would have backed down in those moments, but you stood up. But most importantly, you stood up together. And I think that you two are one of the most outstanding love stories I've ever seen depicted on television.
Oh, wow.
That's so right.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I wish you so much good fortune in the future. So then, last question. Everyone gets this. And I want to remix your question a little bit.
Okay.
So the question typically is, if you think back throughout your entire life, what's the most memorable conversation you've had? Who was it with? What did you learn? But I want you just to think about Love is Blind.
Okay.
The
Okay.
experiment. During that time, what was the most memorable conversation that you had? Who was it with? What did you learn? It doesn't have to be with each other. It could be with a producer. It could be with someone else that you dated in the pod. It could be with now, if you're on a press run talking to a journalist.
Yeah.
But it could be with each other. What was the most memorable conversation that you had in the experiment, throughout that experiment? Who was it with? What did you learn?
I mean, there's probably, for me, 2 that jump to mind. One I won't talk about because half of it is depicted on television, which was when we start talking about our families in the pods. That's probably the most memorable conversation I had with Meg throughout the whole, and it goes a lot deeper and a lot longer than you see on TV, but a lot of it is depicted on TV, so I won't delve into that one. The other one is when we were in Manchester living together, and we just started to be slightly overwhelmed by the experiment for the first time. One of my best friends, Harry, rang me, and I took the conversation away from Meg, so I went out onto the balcony, so it was just me talking to Harry, and he really quizzed me on why I was continuing with the experiment. So he was like, look, you found someone you like, that's great. But why on earth are you continuing this experiment and thinking about getting married? That's ridiculous. And he really quizzed me, and he'd written notes, bless him, and he went through his page of notes of like all the things of like that he would like to ask me before he feels he can back this.
Wow.
And he was really considered in the way he approached it, and he went through all of these things. And I was so grateful because by the end of it, I felt sure that I was doing the right thing by staying in the experiment. Whereas I had felt a bit overwhelmed at that point and a bit wobbly. After basically talking him through all of the reasons, I was like, almost then like started to believe it myself and was like, thank you for asking those questions, because now I think I'm right where I need to be.
Yes, look at that. Look at that. Love it. Harry for the win.
Harry. Come on, Harry.
Come on, Harry.
Is
We
Harry
love
your genius friend?
He's not, but he's very
Very clever.
very smart. He's very clever.
All your friends are very clever, to be fair.
Yeah, there's some clever books.
We did a pub quiz. I was like, oh, Jesus.
I'm never going back.
No, I was like, any questions about the Kardashians? I'm like, guys, I've got this. Don't worry. I've got my forte. I feel like mine was quite similar. It was with my best friend as well, India. She was very apprehensive about me going on the show. She knows what I'm like. She knew that I'm a loose cannon and I was going to do whatever I wanted to do. But she was like, is that the right thing to do? Like, do you really think this is right? Like, you could get married. Like, she just wasn't sold on the idea. And then when we got to Manchester and I'd finally got my phone back and I got to speak to her and we dove deep about everything that had happened. I just explained the whole situation with Kieran and she did the same. She absolutely grilled me. She went in and was asking me every single question under the sun. And we got to the end and she was like, Meg, I'm so proud of you. She was like, you know what? I can hear it in your voice. I can hear it. I can see how you are. You're literally beaming, you're glowing. And that's all I need to see. She was like, that's it. And she's like, I can tell this is right. You ride the wave, you do what you need to do. She's like, I'm going to support you regardless. So I think, yeah, it's probably the exact same timing for us both.
Yeah,
I think we were like,
see.
our besties have got our back and how
And
incredible.
it was just so beautiful that they all came together at the wedding and they were all so supportive of the whole thing by the time we actually decided we were going to do it.
Yeah, we were so lucky that everyone was on board. I think that's why they didn't show our families and our friends meets either, because there was no drama. Everyone was so supportive, and I think they understood me and Kieran to such a level that they were like, we see it and we get it. As crazy as this is, we didn't think we would, but now we've seen it, this makes sense.
Yes.
So that was really lovely.
Yeah. No, I love it. Like, there's so much about not only the relationship that I love, but also how you were able to navigate television. I think that's an entire conversation that's very important because more and more people are getting representation, not just on television, but in digital world, right?
Yeah.
It's very accessible now.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, many people allow themselves to fall victim to the machine, if you will. But I think you two did an exceptional job at understanding the mission, right, and accomplishing that mission. And I just wish you so much, love and joy in the future. If there's ever anything I can do to support either of you, please let me know. But continue to, most importantly, stand together.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. We will.
You're a legend. Thank you.
Yeah, you are literally unbelievable.
Kieran and Meg.
How did you find it?
I love them. I was hoping that I would love them because, I watched them obviously on Love is Blind and really loved what I saw, but I know it's reality television. You don't always get what you see. So I was hoping that I would get what I saw, and I got more than that. They were wonderful. What I loved about how they did it and how they maintained such a strong relationship is through their consistent, frequent communication. The more closed off we are, the less opportunity we have to actually meet and connect with someone. And so what Meg and Kieran represent are two people who are completely open in their methods and willingness to meet someone. That's a place that we could all benefit from. People often talk about the divorce rate is between 35 and 50%, depending on the country. But the breakup rate is much higher for couples who are just casually dating. It's much higher. So you think, well, why do people break up? Well, the number one reason that people break up is miscommunication. Well, when you add the element of, the public and the popularity of a show and the pressure that's placed on you, communication becomes even more important. So you could see where it's very easy for a couple to break up. And I tell you what, I mean, I may have to eat these words one day, but I don't think I will, is that truly they're one of the strongest couples I've ever seen come from a reality television show. And I've been doing this for a decade.